Hey there! Welcome to our channel where we explore everything related to tea. Today, we're going to talk about two of the most popular beverages in the world: tea and coffee. Tea is known for its clean taste, while coffee is known for its strong flavor. Despite their differences in taste, they both have one thing in common: caffeine. Yes, caffeine is present in both tea and coffee, and it's capable of boosting your energy levels. While some believe tea is less refreshing than coffee due to its higher theophylline content, both beverages offer the benefits of caffeine, which is a central nervous system stimulant that combats drowsiness and restores alertness. Caffeine is a stimulant that temporarily combats drowsiness and restores energy, making it a popular choice for those engaged in mental work. It is found in various beverages such as coffee, tea, and other caffeinated drinks. Caffeine belongs to the methylxanthine group, which differs from theophylline and theobromine. These two compounds have one less methyl group than caffeine, resulting in a less intense euphoric effect on the body. Once consumed, caffeine is metabolized in the liver into three primary compounds: paraxanthin, theobromine, and theophylline. Caffeine and theobromine are the primary components in coffee and cocoa nuts, serving as central nervous system stimulants that temporarily combat drowsiness and restore energy. However, tea is an exception, as it contains theophylline, theobromine, and caffeine. Nonetheless, the amount of theophylline and theobromine in tea is negligible compared to caffeine. While coffee beans contain 1% to 2% caffeine, tea can contain up to 2% to 4% caffeine, up to 5.5%. Meaning that tea has more than twice the amount of caffeine found in coffee. Therefore, if you need to refresh your mind, a cup of tea is an excellent choice. Despite tea having a higher caffeine content than coffee, many people find coffee more refreshing. This is because the caffeine content is only one of several factors that affect our perception of a beverage. Factors such as the rate of caffeine release, flavor, and aroma also play a role in how we experience a drink. Additionally, the production process and variety of tea can impact the caffeine content and strength. For instance, Lapsang Souchong tea, a famous variety of tea, contains very little caffeine. While tea has a higher caffeine content than coffee, the actual amount of caffeine in each cup can vary due to differences in leaching rates. The caffeine content of coffee depends on the brewing method, with blended coffee having the highest caffeine content, followed by filter coffee, instant coffee, espresso, and decaffeinated coffee. Similarly, the amount of caffeine in tea varies depending on the type and brewing method. Ripe pu'er tea has the highest caffeine content, followed by black tea, yellow tea, white tea, oolong tea, green tea, and raw pu'er tea. Although tea contains more caffeine overall, when comparing the caffeine content of brewed tea and coffee, we typically use the brewed liquid rather than equal amounts of dry tea leaves and coffee beans. The typical ratio for brewing coffee is 8.25 grams of coffee powder per 150 milliliters of water, while the ratio for brewed tea is much smaller. Although there is less caffeine per unit in coffee than in tea, the total caffeine content in coffee is higher because coffee needs to be brewed several times. Tea, especially oolong, black, and pu'er teas, can be brewed repeatedly, with some varieties able to be brewed more than a dozen times. Caffeine dissolves 80% within 2 minutes of brewing and is quickly broken down into methyl uric acid or uric acid and excreted from the body after being consumed. As a result, caffeine from tea does not accumulate in the body. Although some caffeine is released every time tea is brewed, the caffeine intake for daily consumption is only equivalent to 1 cup as long as the same tea leaves are used. In contrast, we typically only brew 1 cup of coffee compared to the same weight of dried tea, resulting in a higher total caffeine content in coffee. This is also why coffee is often considered more refreshing than tea. Caffeine is a crucial component in the taste of tea, and the complex it forms with theaflavin contributes to its fresh taste. As a result, the amount of caffeine in tea is considered an important factor in its overall quality. Additionally, caffeine has a stimulating effect on the human body and can have certain pharmacological effects. The biochemical quality of fresh tea leaves is the primary factor that determines the caffeine content in the finished product. Various factors influence the caffeine content in fresh tea leaves, including the tea tree variety, auxiliary parts, picking time, and growing environment. For instance, newer and finer tea leaves tend to have higher caffeine content compared to older leaves. Summer and autumn teas typically have higher caffeine content than spring teas, and large leaf tea varieties generally have more caffeine than small and medium leaf varieties. Furthermore, tea leaves that are subjected to high temperatures and long frying processes tend to have lower caffeine content. The caffeine content in tea is influenced by several factors, including the fermentation time of tea leaves. Fully fermented black tea has a higher caffeine content than unfermented green tea, with the latter containing only 1/3 of the caffeine found in black tea. Semi-fermented oolong tea has about half the caffeine content of black tea. The brewing time also affects the caffeine content of the tea, with longer brewing times resulting in higher caffeine extraction. With so many factors influencing caffeine content, it can be challenging to make a simple conclusion. The color of tea is not a reliable indicator of its caffeine content. Recent studies indicate that deeply fermented ripe pure tea and certain black teas have the highest proportion of bound caffeine, while unoxidized and unfermented green tea contains less than 2% bound caffeine. Other teas fall somewhere in the middle. This partially explains why some individuals find green tea to be refreshing, while others find pure tea to be calming. Annually, people worldwide consume 120,000 tons of caffeine, with 50% coming from coffee and 40% from tea. While some individuals may experience negative reactions such as rapid heartbeat and muscle twitching from consuming coffee, consuming the appropriate amount of caffeine can have positive effects on the body. Caffeine can be taken 15 minutes before a meal to increase satiety and suppress appetite. It can also boost metabolic rate and enhance exercise performance. Additionally, caffeine has antioxidant properties, can prevent neurodegenerative diseases, fight cancer, reduce migraines, have a positive impact on cardiovascular disease, not increase the risk of osteoporosis, and mitigate the harmful effects of smoking and alcohol consumption. Choosing freshly ground coffee beans is recommended as long-preserved and oxidized caffeine may have negative effects on the body. We previously discussed the health effects of caffeine in one of our videos, which you can watch for more information. A healthy adult can safely consume 3 to 5 cups, 240 milliliters, of coffee per day. Similarly, it is considered safe to consume 10 to 20 grams of tea per day, based on the accepted daily intake limit of 400 milligrams of caffeine. However, if you are a child, teenager, or in a stage of pregnancy where caffeine intake needs to be regulated, decaffeinated teas or naturally caffeine-free alternatives like herbal teas and fruit teas may be more appropriate. Steeping tea leaves in hot water for an extended period of time will increase the amount of caffeine released. To decrease caffeine intake, the cold brew method can be used. Cold brewed tea is typically sweeter, while hot brewed tea is more flavorful. However, not all teas are suitable for cold brewing, and only robust teas can be extracted at lower temperatures to bring out their flavor. This is influenced by the harvesting season, with green and oolong teas being best picked in the spring and winter, while black teas are ideal for summer picking. Thank you for watching this video. We hope you now have a deeper understanding of caffeine and tea. If you enjoyed this content, be sure to subscribe to our channel for more informative videos on tea and health. Additionally, if you're interested in purchasing tea and related products, please visit our website at www.admiringazealand.com. We appreciate your support and look forward to sharing more exciting content with you in the future.